So, hello everyone.
Hello.
Yes.
Well, Miss Goodbye.
Hello.
Yeah. My name is.
Right, you can just cut out.
I know.
Right.
Well, I want to
And
introduce.
right.
Yeah.
Action.
Okay. Yes. Hello everyone. I'm Alan Yaksic, and I'm going to do a read-through of my script for Mishap. And does anyone? And I was thinking, okay, for characters,
Sorry, could I just say one thing?
Go on.
We know the last screening, I didn't ask the question. What does mishap? What's the whole idea?
Mishap is a synonym for accident.
Oh, okay. See, I
Okay, Alan, would you like to allocate the roles
Yes,
and give someone stage directions?
Of course, sure. So, Ross, I would like you to be Mike,
Love it.
the lead
Okay.
character.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes.
Okay.
And Sam, Tim.
didn't. Oh no.
Okay, so maybe Tracy, you could be the manager,
Yep, okay.
Okay.
that's fine.
and I don't want to say Stacey for some strange reason. Chloe, I'd like you to be Vivian,
Okay, yeah, cool.
and Emily, you could be say the policewoman,
Oh, Siobhan.
and maybe say that one line from Denise.
And are you going to do stage directions?
I will do stage
Okay,
directions.
perfect.
Okay.
Right, everyone ready?
So we begin in an office department. It's in the afternoon. Mike enters a room and slams the door behind him. We see a terrified look on his face, and we hear him panting. So we then move to the beginning, the first scene, so to speak, and we see a relaxed, upbeat Mike sitting opposite his quiet, downbeat colleague, Tim, in their office department. A nearby clock shows that the time is 1:30 p.m., while a nearby perpetual calendar indicates that the day is Monday. On Tim's desk is a framed group photograph of him, Mike, and two women, and all four are smiling. In the background, we hear office noise.
Another 5 reports to go through before 5.
Same here.
Haven't heard from Viv or Denise since Saturday. They went to Hatfield from your place, didn't they?
Sure, they went to stay with some former colleagues of your sister from her uni days there. She texted you.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully I'll hear from them later today. Summer's coming soon. Us four should go somewhere we haven't been to yet. We've already been to Spain and Italy together, though we haven't been to Croatia or Turkey yet.
Tim does not face or pay attention to Mike.
Okay, so you want to, if we stop at the end of each page, very visual, very descriptive in the opening scene directions. I found where Tim is unemotional, sure, they went to stay with some former colleagues of your sister. It's too formal.
Okay.
It's too formal. It could be as simple as they went to stay with some friends, or former colleagues makes it sound very executive.
Okay.
So I would kind of just unformalise it a little bit.
Mates, friends.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Okay, should we pick up?
So,
We could go to Istanbul, where they shot some scenes featured in a few 007 films. Or maybe we should go to Croatia, home to Diocletian's Palace, aka the underground passageways in a marine scene in Game of Thrones. So, it's a choice between James Bond or GOT, Tim.
Tim briefly looks up at Mike.
Denise would love to go and see Dubrovnik.
Tim's eyes move downwards and to the side, following mention of Denise's name. We then see the framed photograph of the four of them on his desk.
So would Viv.
Tim's head moves downwards. He looks glum, though Mike does not notice this.
Croatia it is.
The manager opens the door to this office and does not let go of the doorknob. He has a serious look on his face.
Michael?
Yep.
Could you come to my office?
Sure.
Mike gets up from his seat and walks towards the door where the manager is standing. The manager moves away to let Mike pass through.
Okay, again, it's flowing really well. My issue is that first paragraph.
Oh, okay.
I've just written here, people do not speak like this. It needs to be a lot more natural in its language. Like, we talk about films and TV shows in this room a lot. Do we ever say where they shot films featured in? You don't
okay.
speak like that. And using AKA in a sentence when you're talking to someone, again, you need to take the formality out of it and write it in a more natural way of people actually talking. Because really, these two guys are just having a natural conversation. It needs to sound more like a natural conversation. Okay? Next.
So, we're now in the manager's room. Mike closes the door behind him and looks up to see a calm-looking policeman in uniform standing to the left of his manager, still with that serious look on his face. Both are standing behind the manager's desk.
You might want to sit down for this.
Mike starts to look worried before sitting himself down.
Michael Parker?
Yes?
Can you tell me how you know a certain Denise Parker?
She's my sister.
And Vivian McCall?
My girlfriend.
We see Mike looking frightened, eyes more open as he anticipates the worst. We also hear the policeman's voice fading out. So, we return to the very first scene of this film, in which Mike enters his office department and slams the door behind him with that terrified look on his face, and we hear him panting.
What have you done?
Tim rises from behind his desk, looking confused.
Anyone? No? I think that's all pretty clear.
I quite like the, it's not really a bad comment, but I quite like the policeman's voice fading out to like end the scene. I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah. My only, I don't know if it's a concern at the moment, we've got 3 scenes that have started. Well, no, actually, you've got a break here, but all of your scenes so far are starting in the same office with people coming in. In terms of a visual of that, you are kind of watching the same thing happening over and over again. So Mike enters the room and slams the door, then they're into the office, then Mike closes the door, they return to the very first office. Do you see what I mean? You have to think about that as a visual, and it's going to be quite repetitive as a visual. But again, that's just, at the moment, it's just a comment on.
So,
Done what?
Denise? Vivian?
Tim turns his head from side to side before raising his forearms, palms facing Mike and shaking sideways.
What's happened to them?
They're dead.
Tim looks shocked and frightened.
Their bodies were found yesterday on a riverbank facing down.
Tim starts panting.
They were at your place last Saturday, and yet Denise is supposed to have sent me a text yesterday.
Tim has his head in his hands.
Oh fuck.
Tim becomes nervous.
I admit that I faked the text from her phone.
What?
I didn't want you to worry, mate. I mean,
Right. I've got some issues
Oh,
here.
okay.
Okay, I think you need to write this in the first part. They're dead.
Right.
Their bodies were found yesterday. If someone is just being told that, it would be a bit more difficult for them to just kind of be like, yeah, their bodies were found face down.
Oh.
And the kind of
Okay.
initial emotion of that would be a lot
Okay.
more overwhelming. So I think that needs to be you need to write that in a much more emotional as a much more emotional confrontation. And then then the second half of this page, like, it's just like, oh yeah, I did it. It's just this like moment of, oh, I admit it. There's no like mystery, there's no build, there's no drama. It's just like, oh yeah. I feel like there needs to be more kind of cat and mouse between. There needs to be. I think there needs to be a whole other sequence in the middle here before Tim finally kind of admits to what he's done. I think you need to kind of break this whole section down. So after Tim has his head in his hands, something needs to happen between these two sequences, because you wouldn't go from this, what should be emotion, straight into a kind of a big reveal like that. Something needs to happen in between there. Does anyone agree, disagree? What are you all thinking in terms of...
Agree, we agree, especially
It's too instant.
I was just confused because it says, yeah, Denise is supposed to have sent me a text yesterday, and then he says, I admit it, I faked the text. So obviously here it should say, I got a text from her yesterday. Like, it needs to be more...
Because at the moment, you're right, Chloe, Tim isn't accusing, at this stage, Mike isn't accusing Tim of doing anything. He's just saying their bodies were found, and I was supposed to get a text from her yesterday. And then if he's saying that, I sent a text from her, he would say, well, I got a text from her yesterday. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, sort of fake the text. Sort of,
yeah, but he's saying I was supposed to get a text.
Supposed to have she's supposed to have sent him yesterday. As in he's meant to believe that it came from her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what else is...
But the way that we're
written,
reading it is that he didn't actually get one from her.
It's like she was supposed to do it, but like she didn't.
I didn't mean that.
Do you see what I mean? So what Chloe's saying is that you read that as if he hasn't had a text from her, but then Tim says, I faked the text.
Oh, okay.
So that should read more like, well, I got a text from her yesterday, but how could she have texted me if she's dead?
Yeah.
Right. Could be misunderstood. Okay, I'll have to change that. Okay. So.
But again, I think beyond that, the biggest issue is that you cannot just have, especially for a Fincher.
Right.
Think about Seven. Think about Fight Club. Think about Gone Girl. The level of mystery and drama in there.
Right.
You are completely lacking that by having him just say, I admit.
Okay, but my concern is about duration, because it's supposed to be less than 10 minutes. So, I mean, if it was a 15-minute film, I'd be more encouraged to add another scene and maybe two scenes. I think
you should write it how you envision it. If that turns into a 15-minute film, then so be it. Okay. Because what we can do, write it how you envision it, because then we can change things and cut things out afterwards. But at the moment, it feels like there's a big thing missing.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay, should we keep going?
Okay, so Mike.
What did you do to them?
We didn't tell you what we...
Who's we?
Us three. Me, Denise and Viv. We used to kinky stuff like bondage.
Bondage?
As in BDSM.
Is that why they were found semi-naked wearing latex items?
Tim nods.
Again, it's all a bit conversational. Like, surely Mike would be like punching him. It's all a bit friendly.
Okay, well, it gets less friendly later on.
But I feel that the conversation has been written in a really kind of open, friendly...
Just a bit of BDSM.
Oh, is that why they were wearing latex? Do you know what I mean? It's all very calm and collected.
I've put that when he says about them being semi-naked wearing latex items, it needs to have a bit more emotion towards it to allow the scene to come through.
And I get, like, gents, you're just reading a script, but it needs to be written in a way that is more... There needs to be more confrontation in this. It's like he's not confronting him, he's just asking him in general chit-chat.
Yeah, I did it, yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, because he starts off, doesn't he? He's like, okay, so what happened to Viv and Denise? He's like, okay, all right, fine. I sent a fake text, and then he's like, okay,
Oh, then I killed
what's
your
going on?
sister.
Well, maybe
But
if
it's
he
alright
was-
though, because we're in BDSM.
I know, like,
See what I
knife
mean, Alan? It's all
threatens-
very conversational, where it
Right.
needs to be a lot more
Right,
confrontational.
well, yeah, but then again, yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
Right, okay,
I don't
well,
think Tim.
So go from
yeah,
4.
Tim's. Okay, so
I've read it.
now, so we're in a different place now. We're in a flashback. So in this flashback, this is evening time. We see a bedroom found in Tim's house, where we also see Denise and Vivian, both scantily clad, wearing black latex items, next to a topless Tim. We can tell he is not wearing any underwear.
How can we tell?
This is the shot angle.
Oh, was he like behind a lamp or something?
I'll leave it to the
Okay.
director. Okay,
Okay.
Denise is sitting on the short edge of the bed, while Vivian is mounting the same bed on its long edge from Denise's left.
Also, sorry to cut you off.
Oh.
So this is Mike's sister and girlfriend. So she's also been cheating on him. Do you see what I mean?
Right,
It
yeah.
wouldn't be conversational. It would be,
Yeah.
she was cheating on me with you, and my
all this?
sister was with you, and
But he's shocked.
Wait, were they in the workplace as well?
yeah.
Is that not maybe, like, I don't know, like maybe he invites him over to talk to him and then threatens him in some, because I feel like there needs to be some threatening going on for him to just open up. Like,
If
if he was
yeah,
held
like
at knife
before,
point or
like,
gun point.
and when we were earlier on, if we go back, like when the police tell Mike that his sister's body and his girlfriend's body have been found, you could kind of bridge that gap and have Mike kind of saying, if you've fucking done anything to my sister and my girlfriend, I'm going to fucking kill you, blah, blah, blah. And then it slowly starts to come out, because at the moment, you've just found out that your sister's dead, your girlfriend's dead, your girlfriend's cheating on with you with your best mate, but you're all there like, oh, so, you're right, mate. See, it's Alan, it's far too, actually, it's lovely and innocent, but it's all far too lovely and nice. I'm not talking about the BDSM stuff, fine, that's in there, but the conversations are far too friendly and nice.
Okay.
It needs to be more angry and emotional and raw.
But I've
and
got the empathetical saying angrily.
yeah, but
shocked.
it's the
Oh, you-
words.
Did he-
Oh.
It's the
She's
words.
Vivian, I'm Denise.
Oh, I maybe need some.
But like here, like
Good then.
what did you do to them?
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? It's
Okay, so.
okay,
I probably
right.
need some
Let's
help with
keep
that.
going. Where did
Okay.
we get to?
Yeah. Okay.
We're
So.
on 5.
So
sorry.
Vivian is getting onto that bed where Denise
Denise
is.
is left.
Yes.
There were 4.
Yes.
Where am I? 4.
Page 5.
5.
Page
5.
5.
There you go.
There you go.
5.
Okay. So to the right of Denise is a low wooden table with sex toys on top. We also hear Tim's voiceover VO during the scene.
Do I do the voiceover?
Yeah.
We've been doing this stuff together for over 2 years now. We were preparing for breath control play that night, which is something
Yeah, let's
Denise,
try and keep it together.
something Denise secretly really interested in trying out.
Yeah. Yeah, so kneeling behind Denise on the bed is Vivian, who handcuffs her from behind before leaning on her shoulder seductively.
Code word.
Beep.
Tim approaches Denise from the front with a scrunched up clear bag in his right hand, which he whips open in one fell swoop.
Ready for this?
Denise nods before Tim places that bag over her head. Then from outside the bedroom in the corridor, we hear groaning from Tim and muffled sounds from Denise. Suddenly, Vivian stops the action between Tim and Denise by pushing him away from her. She checks for a pulse on Denise.
She's dead.
What? What are you talking about?
Look, she's not breathing no more.
But she didn't say the code word.
Yes, she did. I could hear her saying beep from the other side of the room.
No way. Did she say beep?
Okay, so should we just stop on the bottom of that
Okay.
page?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, actually, again, I know it's BDSM and
Yeah.
it's inappropriate. I actually I think it's very well written up to the point again where we get back to the dialogue.
Oh no.
And I've actually got no issues with the fact that you've included this stuff. I think it's fine. But it's the dialogue responses that are the issues in the script. And as well, if she was saying beep from the other side of the room, why didn't Vivian jump in and be like, she's saying beep, like, you've got to stop.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? There are plot holes in this.
Oh, okay.
Need to-
Logistics.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, let's keep
Okay.
going.
What if like, because you said it was to do with breath play, what if it was like there was a belt and he does try to take it off of her, but he can't manage to get it off quickly.
Yeah, or if you can't hear the beep because hasn't she got a bag on her head?
Yeah.
So it's
And
muffled.
Is beep the code
So
word,
then
or
maybe
is it like
Vivian
a
just doesn't say
swear
like
word
hear
that
her.
you beeped?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's the
I
code
don't
word.
think Vivian
Oh, it
should be
actually
able
is
to
beep.
hear her
Okay.
say beep because then, pointing at you because you're playing Vivian, but then the Vivian character could be arrested as well for not intervening. She's kind of been a accomplice to the crime kind of thing.
Right, so it's about believability.
Yes.
Alright, believable. Okay. Alright,
And
so
the way that you've written this side as well, no way did she say beep.
okay, well, come on, Vivian.
No, I'm not saying it again.
Oh no, this so after Tim.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
Oh, did you say it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Say that again.
And you've done this before to other girls. You kept fucking them even after they said their code word.
That's a fucking lie.
That's for an Oscar. Oscar.
Impossible.
Right, come on guys.
Okay.
Right, we are recording this.
Yes,
remember, come on.
So Vivian attacks Tim.
Finally, a bit of aggression.
Yes, by thumping his face and chest with the bottom of her fists. Tim manages to grab her by the wrists before throwing her towards the floor. However, instead of falling straight to the floor, her head first lands on the hard edge of the low wooden table nearby, causing her to lose consciousness and bleed from her cracked skull once she reaches the floor. Tim is shocked by the sight of Vivian's face and blood seeping out from the back of her head, and is shocked to see two dead people alive just moments ago.
I honestly couldn't believe what had happened. I thought if I called the ambulance, they'd bring in the police and I'd be charged with murder.
So,
Again, that's not the way that he responds to that. But because yes, you would be charged with murder because you've just murdered two women. So again, the voiceover response I wouldn't say is an accurate response that you would have in that situation.
believable again.
Did you say you left them like face down on a river, on a riverbank?
Yeah.
We're
We're
getting
gonna
there.
get to
We're
that.
getting there.
Oh, so there's a reason. Oh, okay.
Okay, so so it's still the same scene, but at night. We see a rainy night outside Tim's house, and Tim is fully clothed this time, wearing a nylon raincoat and its hood over his head. One of his car's backseat doors are open, and he is walking towards that open door, carrying one of the bodies wrapped in a blanket. Through the back window of the same car, we see that one of those back seats is already occupied by the other body, also wrapped in a blanket.
So instead of calling them, I thought maybe I should move their bodies somewhere else so they don't come knocking on my door.
And now it's morning time, and we're at and we see the riverbank, where Denise's and Vivian's bodies are lying face down and wrapped in blankets on a cloudy day. We hear Tim start crying.
And I swear I thought about you and our friendship. I couldn't believe what I've done to you and your family.
And again, Mike would be angry, aggressive. Well, you've thought about me now. What about for the 2 years that you've been sleeping with my girlfriend? Yeah?
Okay. Right, so clearly my film has believability problems. Okay. So, we return to the office to see an angry Mike shifting from side to side in disbelief, and a tearful Tim standing still.
So you're telling me all this time, my Viv has been cheating on me with you?
My Viv, it sounds like Corrie, like an old lady from Corrie. My Viv.
Ah, Viv.
Do you see what I mean? Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, Mike shakes his head.
No. This is just not real.
I'm so sorry.
You killed my sister and my girlfriend. You fucking arsehole. How could you do this to me?
None of this was meant to happen. I swear.
You destroyed my life.
Mike lunges at Tim, and they fall to the floor. During this commotion, we hear Tim trying to say, "I deserve this," while gasping for breath. The manager and policeman rush into the room and try to pull Mike off Tim.
Mike, stop!
Eventually, the manager and the policeman succeed in pulling Mike off of Tim. However, we then see a motionless Tim with a lifeless look on his face, looking up and mouth open. Mike stands a bit further away from Tim's body. The manager turns to Mike.
What have you done?
The end.
Tim was probably
Tim dies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Like
deserve
part of
this.
this cake.
Yep.
I don't really know how I feel about him dying. I feel like he kind of just gets away. But actually, maybe that's a good thing if you think about the very end of 7 when Brad Pitt is the one sitting in the back of the police
Yeah,
car and you don't
there you
want
go.
it. Actually, maybe that does work.
Mm.
But this aggression, this fighting and this end scene, we need that much, much earlier on. And yeah, I think the biggest issue with like I said, I don't have an issue with your content. Yes, it's a bit risque. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with the actual writing of the dialogue and the believability of those words. At the moment, it isn't believable. Okay. Has anyone else got anything they want to add?
You know the bit where he puts the bodies in the back seat?
Yeah.
Even if it's at night, would he not put them in a boot? Because you've just got 2 big fat blankets in the back of your well.
It's night time.
Potentially. Some
And why
bits are
did he
pretty
bury
small though. You might not be able to.
Yeah.
Well, burying is,
Well,
takes
it'd
more
be
effort.
better, or like laying them across rather
Yeah,
than
like having
sitting them
sitting up.
like.
It's
I don't
not
know.
a, it's not a
So
master
weekend
criminal.
at Bernie's, like, put a pair of sunglasses on.
I feel like that's crime 101. Like, don't sit up with dead bodies in the back of your car.
It's that bit in that
Like
Arnie
awful.
film, that when Arnie kills that guy on the plane, and then they've got like a 10-hour flight or something. So he puts the sunnies on, the hat on, and he says to the stewardess, "Don't disturb him. He's dead tired."
That's
It's kind of bordering on slapstick, Alan.
He like prop his arm up on the window.
and then they're wrapped up.
Right, so obviously we have some issues in the believability and the kind of language that have been used, but in terms of a storyline, I think it's quite good. I think you've got quite a strong storyline. I do have concerns, I have to make you aware of this now, that if your one was chosen about filming this, but actually I quite like it. I think it's quite good. You just need to rewrite a lot of the dialogue.
Yeah, so dialogue. And yeah, so yeah.
Okay?
Okay, thanks a lot.